Hello and welcome to the program from high above Times Square in Midtown Manhattan, third most listened to show in the entire country. My name is Glenn Beck. Hello, America, and hello to Sarah Palin.
Hello.
Are you in Texas today, Governor?
I am in a tiny little town in Texas, just loving this sunshine and getting ready to get on an airplane to Dallas.
Where are you in? What tiny little town?
I hate to expose the name and have them.
I'm sorry,
with me, but no, it's Giddings, Texas. Just the sweetest people who are here, and it's great for my family to get to be here, just kind of chilling until the next event tonight.
I was in Tyler, Texas last Saturday and gave a speech, and they made me an honorary Texan, which I appreciated. I said when Rick Perry handed me the honorary Texan certificate, I asked him. I said, "Is there going to come a time where I'm going to need to use this as a passport?"
I'm in Tyler in a couple of weeks, and I do love being in Texas, and I always kind of kick off my events here by saying how much I appreciate Texas, the independence of the people who are here, and the patriotism, and it's always great to be in Alaska's little sister state of Texas.
Little sister state. They appreciate that. I think you're at the same place that I was at a couple of weeks ago. It's amazing, Sarah, what is happening with this particular business owner. He's bringing these conservative people in. The night before I was there, it was about 10 o'clock at night, and they were doing a concert at this arena, and there was ZZ Top. And he went into a bathroom or something. He tries to turn on the water, and the water was off. And he went to his building manager and said, "Hey, what's with the water?" Just then, the health inspector comes in. The health inspector comes now 10 o'clock at night in the middle of a ZZ Top concert. Health inspector comes in and says, "We noticed that your water is off." And he said, "You noticed that our water is off?" And she said, "Yes, absolutely. Can you show us where your water pump is?" So he takes him around and he shows him the water pump, and she said, "Yeah, we noticed that these valves had been turned a couple of days ago." He said, "Excuse me? You noticed these valves a couple of days ago?" She said, "Yeah, we're gonna have to shut you down, and you're not going to be able to do anything else for the rest of the weekend." Now, I was going to give my speech the next day. The next morning, they called and said, "You're going to be in violation. You got to cancel this." He said, "What happens if I don't cancel?" And they said, "Well, it's going to be a misdemeanor. It'll be a $2,000 fine." He said, "Fine me." They shut them down on a Friday night and tried to keep them closed. And he says he's convinced that it's because people like you are coming in, me, and he's holding conservatives. And he said even in his little teeny town of Tyler, Texas, he's getting the regulation heat.
Unbelievable. Along those lines, does it ever make you feel like you may need a food taster in front of you, Glenn?
Yes. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Sarah, I have to thank you for the Time 100. I didn't know that you were writing the thing on me, and it was wonderful. Thank you very much. It
was wonderful, wasn't it? But the 200-word essay, it wasn't enough room there to talk about so many things that...
Oh, please.
I know, listen, that Americans would love to hear about. What I wanted to interject in there and didn't have the space to do so was to talk about some of your personal stuff that has shaped your thinking on political and cultural stuff, because you have faced the challenges that so many Americans perhaps are facing today, and you've overcome them, and you have a healthy perspective then on what's going on in our world, and you're able to have some right priorities and work hard for those priorities. I wish that there had been more room in that essay to talk a little bit about that a lot of Americans don't know.
Well, I appreciate it. I mean, but I thank you for for what you wrote. Are you coming on Tuesday to the Time 100?
It's my plan. Piper and I will be in New York, so our plan is to be there. What about you?
Can we make sure that we're sitting at the same table? I went last year. It is a nightmare.
Well, how did you face then? Because you know that there will be criticism of, she condemns the mainstream media, and yet she shows up at one of the
Whatever. Shut up.
For me, it's like, hey, I don't mind making a couple of people uncomfortable in the room if I'm there. That's fine, too.
You know what? They're going to say whatever they're going to say, whether we show up or we don't show up.
Right.
I just want to sit at the table. Last time I was sitting at the table, I don't even remember who I was sitting at the table with. Everybody at the table hated my guts. And, I think one of them was the head of Newsweek magazine. And I remember asking the question at the table, you guys are all in love with all of this stuff. Has anybody stopped to think what America looks like after all of these changes are put into place? And nobody said anything at the table. And I could tell nobody had even thought of that. They were all looking at the individual pieces, but they hadn't looked at the whole puzzle. And it made people uncomfortable, and I enjoyed that for that moment. But
Sure.
I'd like to double team them as well. Let me just talk to you about this. Did you see the people that are on the list? Because you're on the leaders, and I'm on the leaders of the most influential people in the world.
No, I only knew about you.
Well, and you, right?
And
Let me give you the list of people that's on this, and tell me if you see a pattern. First, there's Lula da Silva, president of Brazil, a guy who was on the original one of the founding members of the Workers' World Party. Then there's Barack Obama. Then there's Ron Bloom, organized labor and Marxist, a guy who says that he kind of agrees with Chairman Mao, that power comes from the barrel of a gun, and that the free market is dead. Then there is the Prime Minister of Japan, who is described in time as a revolutionary, liberal Democratic Party, wants more power and transparency. His election was called Historic Change. He's also a management professor, which I think Woodrow Wilson was. Then there's Dominique Strauss-Kahn from the IMF, head of the IMF. He was running for president of France in 2007 under the Socialist Party ticket. He lost, and now he's at the IMF. Then there is Bo Xilai, I don't know how to say it, is son of the Chinese Communist Party leader. Then there is Christine Lagarde, Minister of Finance from France. She's described as being very brave because, you ready? She's for global interdependence. Then there is the Prime Minister of Turkey, openly critical of Israel and part of the Justice and Development Party. Then there's Nancy Pelosi. Then there's the Prime Minister of Palestine. Then there is the guy who was working for Prudential and helped bring on AIG. He's on the Commission for Africa and the African Progress Panel. Bob Geldof loves him. Then there's Sister Carol Keenan. She was fighting against health care and fighting for social justice. Then there's the Sheikh of the UAE. Then a guy named Lee, a Chinese billionaire who is helping build China. Then there's you, Scott Brown, me, somebody in Atlanta who I have to meet. I have not met her. Hopefully she's going to be at this thing. Maybe we can get her to sit at the table. She is the one of the first people on the Tea Party movement, and she also was the leader of the 9/12 Project in Atlanta. John Kyle. Oh, her name is Jenny Beth Martin. Okay. And then Stanley McChrystal and you.
What kind of company are we keeping there, Glenn?
Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? It is. I mean, we see. I look at this list, and you can see there are lines being drawn. It is Marxist, globalist, communists, and us.
And some pieces of raw meat being thrown into the mix is what it sounds like. It's pretty fascinating. And no, I haven't known, kind of what their criteria was for selecting these names.
Well, I was surprised that you and I made it. Somebody I know that was in the room when they did the Time Man of the Year. Your name was brought up and my name was brought up, I think, by Giuliani. And Gayle King and the others in the room said, "Oh, please." Gayle King said, "Don't make me vomit." So, I mean, we were thrown out immediately, and so were the Tea Parties. Didn't even make it into the year in review.
You know what this is going to allow us to do, Glenn, is just express further how much we love America and the opportunities that we have here, and it will be just the antithesis of so many of the statements and representations of all those other people that you just named off, when we will be able to have kind of a platform then to even greater than you already have, that allows us to remind Americans that we live the life that most people on the globe would never even be able to dream of, and yet too many Americans find ourselves just taking for granted the American life that our founding fathers worked so hard to create. Well, I'm looking at this as an opportunity to remind Americans of our exceptionalism that we need to re-embrace and get back to. And in spite of the odd characters that are included on this list with us, I'm going to capitalize on it, and I'm going to do all that I can in kind of perpetuating what our message is, reminding Americans of how fortunate we are.
Sarah, we'll talk to you. We'll see you Tuesday.
That sounds wonderful.
Thanks a lot. Talk to you again.
Thank you.
Sarah Palin in Texas this weekend.